Hey, friends.
Hey,
Welcome back. Hey, welcome to Fun Filtered. It's been a little while, Sarah, I think, since you and I,
it
because
has been a while. Too long.
it
Too
has
long.
been too
Yes,
long. Yeah. But here we are. It is Friday, means
it
it's
is.
Fun Filtered, and it means it's almost the weekend. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, we're going to have another Q&A session, all right? And we're just going to answer two questions today, but they're kind of like it'll take a little bit of time to answer the questions to give you the full, well, I was going to say the full answer. We're going to give you as much as we can over the next few minutes in answering those questions. And so we're going to talk about what is it? Audiobook.
Mhm.
And what it really takes to create an audiobook, and whether or not, these are two completely unrelated questions, but whether or not authors truly need to be on social media to sell books. So there you go. And so, Sarah, say hey.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Sarah Cormany. I'm still Sarah Cormany, and I am so incredibly glad to be here with Shelley, especially because isn't she just the best?
Just the best.
Comment in the comment section and let her know that she is just the best. So I actually really, really love these two questions because both of them, I think, involve something authors can feel really a pressure to do. You hear that audiobooks, for instance, are growing and you wonder, oh my gosh, am I falling behind because I'm not doing what Sister Sally Sue is doing? Or you see other authors who are posting online and think, do I have to live on social media if I want anyone to buy my book? And Shelley, what is the answer to that question?
Well, the answer to both of those questions, actually, we're going to begin in the same place here. So with both of these questions, listen, y'all, do not choose a marketing or publishing tool simply because other authors are using it. All right. We're going to just start with that. Understand what it requires. Consider whether it fits your book and your reader, because y'all, everyone's different, right? So make sure that it fits your book and your reader, and then you can make an informed decision. So let's jump into our first question. All right. We already alluded to it, but Kathy Smith, one of our Book Marketing Pro Academy members, asked this question: how does someone create an audio version of a I was going to say public book, of a, hopefully it's public, of a published book? So Sarah, why don't you kick us off with starting to answer that question?
Sure thing. So, Kathy, the first thing I think to understand is that an audiobook is not simply a recording of or reading of your book into a microphone. I think that's kind of a misnomer that we have to fight against. It's actually a separate edition of your book, just like the print book, just like the ebook. They're really different forms of the same book, different products, if you will. So it basically, it has its own rights, its own production requirements, its own quality standards, distribution decisions, and marketing needs.
Yeah. And so the first practical step is to confirm, number one, that you actually own the audio rights. And most independently published or non-traditionally, actually most independently published authors do. Okay. But authors should never assume. Okay. Look at or if you self-published, obviously, but don't assume. Okay. Look at your publishing agreement and make sure those rights belong to you before you begin investing in production. Okay. And then you can estimate how long the finished audiobook, will be. But here's a helpful rule of thumb. All right. It's approximately 9,300 words per finished hour. Okay. So you can gauge it there. So basically a 65,000 word book might become roughly 7 hours of finished audio. All right. So that kind of gives you a starting point for estimating the time and the cost that might be involved.
And finished hour is an important term to understand because producing one finished hour much longer than
Right.
an actual hour, right? There is the narration itself, but there's also retakes, editing, mastering, quality control, proof listening, and then you need to decide who is going to narrate the book.
Yeah. And authors often assume, so let's talk about narrating the book. So authors often assume it's my book, so I should read it, right? But that's not automatically the best choice. Now, it could be, but it's not automatically the best choice. Author narration can be wonderful for memoir or personal testimony, devotionals, or teaching books where the author's voice actually adds warmth and connection. Okay, so your readers may genuinely want to hear the message from you. There's no doubt.
Yep. But in the same vein, professional narration may be a better choice for fiction, children's books, books with several characters, or when the author is not comfortable reading aloud for long periods of time. I want you to go back to high school English class when the class had to read a book aloud for the entire hour and it put you to sleep. If you do not understand that the art of story requires almost like skill to bring the words alive with pacing, with emotion, with personality, while maintaining a consistent sound for hours, you may not get the audiobook you want. And you need to remember too that the voice is an instrument. And so speaking for that long requires you know how to use it and you know how to protect it so you can get that quality sound for the entire experience.
Yeah, that's really good and so important. And okay, so once you've decided who will narrate the book, now you need to choose how it will be produced. And this might be really the more complicated part, because you can't just, for the most part, just produce an ebook and think I'm going to go and upload it to all the places. It doesn't work that way with audiobooks. So you can hire a full service audiobook production company. You can work with a narrator and producer through a platform such as ACX and do some research on that. But you can also record it yourself and hire an experienced audio editor or engineer to clean and master and prepare the files.
Yep. And recording it yourself does not necessarily mean recording it less professionally. You still need the right microphone, a quiet recording environment, consistent sound, correctly formatted files, and someone who understands the technical specifications required from or by audiobook retailers.
Yeah.
And please have the entire audiobook proof listened before it is submitted for distribution. You do not want the first person to discover a missing paragraph, duplicated sentence, strange background noise, like right now my phone is ringing and buzzing, you might be hearing it, or mispronounced name to be a paying listener. That's not what we want for any of our readers or our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we come to distribution, which is where, audio books do work differently, as I mentioned a moment ago, from print books and ebooks, you do not upload your audiobook, yourself, through Amazon KDP. In most cases, you use an audiobook distribution platform that delivers the completed files and book information to those listening platforms. And then, of course, report sales and royalties and all of that come back to you through that. So, for example, an author can produce or upload an audiobook through ACX. Again, research them. And once it passes the quality review, ACX will then distribute to Audible and Amazon and Apple Books and those platforms. Now, Spotify is one platform, though, that allows authors and self-published and independently published authors to actually upload an audiobook directly to Spotify. Authors can also choose to send the book through what's called Voices by InAudio. I don't know much about them at all, but again, research these options. And they will take care of the distribution to additional audiobook retailers beyond Spotify. So you may still be the audiobook's publisher and retain your rights, but the distributor is the pipeline that actually gets the audiobook into those major listening platforms.
And you will also need to really consider whether to distribute exclusively through one network or wide. An exclusive agreement may offer certainty, royalty or promotional benefits, but it limits where the audiobook can be sold. So understand that distinction. Going wide allows the book to reach more retailers, subscription services, and potentially libraries, but the terms of the service may be differ from place to place. Read the current agreement before choosing. Always good to read and be informed.
Yes, very good advice there. And so here's the part that authors sometimes will overlook. Creating an audiobook gives your readers another way to consume the book, but it does not automatically create demand for it. All right. There are some genres that there is a lot of demand, but make sure it is for yours, okay, and for your topic. So before you invest, ask these questions. Do my readers listen to audiobooks? Does the content translate well to audio? For instance, if your book has a lot of graphs and tables and everything to it, and it's teaching, it may not be the best one to type of book to actually create an audiobook for. Will I have a realistic way to let people know that this edition exists? So an audiobook can increase accessibility and extend the life of a book. Audiobooks are like, people are listening to audiobooks. So there is certainly a demand, but we want to make sure that there's demand for you, for your situation, right? For your topic and genre. So treat it as just like a new publishing project, with production, distribution, and marketing all taken into consideration.
And that is the big takeaway. Do not think I just need to record my book. Instead, we want you to think, I am creating and releasing another edition of my book. And Shelley, the idea of creating something without automatically creating demand takes us perfectly into question number 2.
Yes.
Do I need social media to sell books?
All right. Well, the direct answer is no. That's all.
And we're done.
See ya. Yes. You do not have to spend hours every day on social media, and you do not need a huge following to sell books. And I hope that gives someone listening today a little freedom. Okay. I wish we had more time. I have so much to say about social media, but we do not have the time to really dive into it. But I would even take it a step further and say that you do not even need to be on social media to sell books. Does it help? Can it be part of your strategy? Absolutely. If you enjoy it, leverage it and use it. But it is not essential for you to actually sell books.
And you know what? I would agree with Shelley. It also goes back to that where is your audience?
Mm-hmm.
Who is your audience? If your audience is on social media, then maybe that's an important place to explore. But if they're not, then it's probably not the priority. Again, you may not need social media, but you do need a way for the right readers to discover you, to begin trusting you, and to stay connected to you. It's about relationship and what's going to build that in an engaging way. Now, social media can help with those things, but it's only one marketing channel. And for many authors, quite frankly, it is not the channel that produces the most book sales.
Yeah, that is for sure. One of the biggest misconceptions in book marketing is that more followers automatically means more readers.
Yep.
And it really doesn't. So a person can have thousands of followers who enjoy her posts or his or her posts, but rarely buy anything, right? Meanwhile, an author with a much smaller audience may sell books consistently because they built that meaningful relationship with the right people.
And remember, ultimately, book sales happen because what? People trust you.
Right.
A podcast, let's say, host recommends the book. A ministry leader chooses it for a group. A speaker shares it at an event. A counselor maybe gives it to you on recommendation, or even a reader just tells a friend, hey, this book really helped me, and I think it might be right for you. Those recommendations, person to person, those carry far more weight than a random post that appearing in someone's feed. And we all know that to be true because it's true for us as consumers as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So instead of beginning with which social media platforms should I be on, begin with a much better question, perhaps. Say something like, where does my reader, and we've talked a lot about this in Book Marketing Pro Academy, but where does my reader already gather? Where do they look for help? And who are they trusting for their recommendations, right? For one author, that may be social media, and where it's Facebook and Instagram or TikTok, right? But for another, it may be churches and podcasts and conferences, counseling practices, homeschool groups, book clubs. The list can go on, and ministry partnerships, right?
Yeah. And social media can definitely support these efforts. And I will say, it also can make you more discoverable online, but you might use it just to stay visible between speaking events. Share a podcast. I think that's a big one. Sharing a podcast interview that you want to get out to not only your readers, but also support the podcaster who is gracious enough to have you on as an interviewee. Again, that's trust, that builds relationship, but it builds relationship with people you're partnering with. It can also, you can use it to stay visible when you're connecting with ministry leaders, or you're serving readers in a unique way who have already discovered you somewhere else. But it does absolutely not. If you hear nothing today, it does not have to carry the weight of your marketing plan.
Yeah. So good. It's so important.
Yes.
You don't need to be everywhere. You don't, but you also do not want your entire marketing plan dependent on just one platform, right? Especially one that you do not own and you cannot control.
Mm-hmm.
So a simple marketing plan needs 3 core pieces. All right. And I'm super simplifying this, or we're going to super simplify this. But here are three core pieces. Here's 3 core pieces. First, choose 2 or 3 realistic ways that new readers can discover you. All right. That's super simple to do. One may be a channel that you use consistently, such as speaking, podcasts, as Sarah was just saying, email, social media, guest teaching, ministry outreach. The others can support it through partnerships, events, referrals, or occasional visibility opportunities.
Yeah, the goal is not really to create 5 full-time marketing jobs for yourself, because I don't know about you, Shelley, but that makes me want to cry. It is to give readers, though, more than one pathway to encounter your message.
Yeah.
Because when an author relies on one channel, and especially when that one channel is social media, then they can become discouraged really, really, really quickly if that algorithm does not deliver the reach or the sales that he or she expected.
Yeah. All right. So the first one was, again, just very simplified. These 3 core pieces is just choose 2 or 3 realistic ways that new readers can discover you. And the second is create a way to continue the relationship. Again, we're just beating this drum constantly. That's why we talk so much about building an email list. That's one of the best ways to continue that relationship. Someone may first discover you through a podcast or speaking event or from social media or a friend or a ministry partner, but email gives you that direct way to continue serving that person, encouraging them and communicating with them without depending on an algorithm to decide whether or not they ever see your posts.
All right, we've made it through number 1. Number 2, number 3 is give people a clear next step. We are all about call to actions here at Redemption Press, and there is a reason for that. So, do you want them to buy the book? Do you want them to download a free resource? Do you want them to invite you to speak? Do you want them to use the book with a group, join a study, or share the message with a friend? People are far more likely to respond when that next step is clear. They do not want to have to guess.
That is for sure. So let's go back to the original question. Should you use social media? Well, use it when your readers are there, when it fits your strengths, and when you can approach it with a realistic and sustainable rhythm. But please do not believe that you have to become a full-time content creator to be a successful author. Your marketing needs and connection, it requires trust. It does not require constant posting. And I want to just add again one more time, is if you can't stand social media, choose something else. You don't have to be on social media to be successful with your book sales and reaching your reader.
And even it's okay for social media, even if you are going to use it, to have it play a smaller role in your overall marketing plan. Believe it or not, I had a social media coach at one point, and her comment was, if you are spending more than a few minutes a day on social media, you're spending too much time. So even the experts who encourage social media use are saying it's not meant to control your life. So maybe you post once or twice a week so people can see that you're active, so you remain visible online, understand your message, and just know how to take the next step or direct them to your website. Then you can put more of your energy into speaking, into podcast interviews, into newsletters, church relationships, or even partnerships, because those are the places where your readers will actually respond.
Yeah, and that's the freedom that we want our authors, not just our authors, all authors, to hear. The question is not, am I doing everything other authors are doing, right? The question is, am I creating clear and intentional pathways for the people that my book was written to serve?
So good. Well, these 2 questions may have sounded completely unrelated, but they really do build on one another and share an important lesson. Whether you're considering an audiobook or maybe you're deciding how much time to spend on social media, the tool itself is not the strategy.
Yeah, exactly. And an audiobook can give readers another way to experience your book, but you still need to plan for helping them to discover it.
Yeah.
Right. Social media can create visibility and connection, but it's only one of the many ways that readers may find and trust you. So the goal is not to use every tool available. The goal is to choose tools that actually make sense for your book and your reader, and the way that God has equipped you to communicate uniquely, because you are unique.
100%. You are unique. And remember that, because it's an important thing for all of us to be reminded of, whether we're writers or not. So for those of you joining us live, tell us in the comments, are you considering an audiobook? Or maybe you're trying to build a marketing plan that does not depend so heavily on social media. We would love to hear what you are working through.
Yeah. And if these are the kind of questions that you've been wrestling with, we've been doing this now for what, 6 weeks now, I think, 4 to 6 weeks, something like that. That's why we created Book Marketing Pro Academy. So inside the Academy, we help authors move beyond random marketing activities and actually build practical plans that fit their messages and their readers and reach their readers and builds on their strengths and the season of life that they're in. So yeah, you can learn more about Book Marketing Pro Academy at bookmarketingproacademy.com. If you're not already in there with us, you will not regret it. It will, we will serve you well, that is for sure. And you will be glad that you joined us.
And if you maybe have a question you would love to see answered in these fun filtered Q&As, drop that in the comments too.
Yeah. So Sarah, we have like 2 minutes to spare. Do you want to look at see if anybody has any questions? Hey, Gail Porter.
Oh, I love Miss Gail.
Susan.
Yes, considering
Perpetuation Project. I'm not sure who that is.
I think that's Jason. Do I have that right, Jason? Susan. Hey, Susan.
Yes, considering audiobook. Awesome. Great. So no actual questions.
No actual questions, but a lot of good engagement.
Yes, it was Jason. All right. Well, it sure was nice spending this time with y'all. Hope you all have a delightful weekend. And until next time,
we'll see you. All right. Take care.